done some more moving. There we're back out here on the job. Been trying to build waterways for about the last month, but I worked about a day and a half this week. I come out here middle of the week and flew the drone up. It was too wet to work, but I could drive up top this hill. Took my drone, flew it around, and kind of looked at the end of everything. Last time I was out here, I dressed off the end of that one down at the bottom of the hill, and water run down it, and it was pretty well standing where I hadn't dug anything on the end out yet, but it was just too wet to work the day I come out here and flew the drone up, so I was going to wait one more day and come back the next day, and then it rained another 1.5 inches the next day. So I'm going to try to get this little bit right here, this upper end finished, and then this will be done. Everything in this field will be done. It'll be time to go across into that next field and go all the way down to where them trees is at. But this is all the hill, really the hill stuff that I've got. So once I'm through with here, I'm down on the low end of everything, even way over there where them cattle are. There's a little waterway where them cattle are standing on top of that hill, but it's not very much, and then it goes across that field, and the lower you get, the wetter it is. So just kind of trying to do a little bit between the rains and try to get some of this done. So anyway, I got one battery in my GoPro camera. It's the one that's in there right now. The rest of them's there sitting by the computer desk being charged up, and I forgot to pick them up this morning. So anyway, we'll let you see a little bit of this morning, and as I'm doing that, and then we'll regroup. Hopefully next week's a drier week. Thanks for watching. Bye. Well, I found one more battery, so this may be your lucky day, or maybe not, but you're going to get to watch me. I'm going to finish building this deal. I got it all dug out. I'm in the 670G motor grader. I'm fixing to slick it off. That way, if it rains tomorrow, that's all done, and I'll be ready to go down there and start on the lower end. So we'll set the camera up, I think, on the outside of the grader, try to get a little bit different shot. You can't see a whole lot if I put it in here other than me working or the front wheels turning. So we'll try to hang it up on the side where you kind of see a little bit of everything. So appreciate y'all watching this channel. Watching Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We're back out where we've been building the waterways. I was over that hill over there about a mile. I've got everything over there down to the wet ground, so I moved on this side of the hill, and I'm at the end of the second one that's in this field. There was a little bitty one up there by the pickup, and it went that away. It had a 14-foot bottom in it, so I just built it with the motor grader and got it finished up yesterday. So water grader and got it finished up yesterday. So I've got this one laid out. This is the center line. I'm glad I put the ribbons on something the cows wouldn't get. They hadn't been out here in this field, and I started coming down here this morning. When I laid out my center line, I took electric fence posts and stuck them in the ground and put ribbon on there, and got over here after, well, right before dinner, and started driving down where I'd put them stakes, and they'd stripped the ribbon plumb off every one of them. So I didn't have my bottom laid out. I've got it laid out now. I started up there and come down this end, and I pulled the fence up here so I could dig this thing out into the pasture. But I guess them cows, it's probably the calves that are pulling them off, if they stripped the ribbon off every one of them electric T-posts. So, but I set my edges, and I just got through making a mark with the dozer up through there, because they'll be gone probably by another day. Them cattle will come down them field, and they'll walk down where I knock that down, and they'll get them flags and pull them out. I guess they smell them. I don't know. I always heard a cow was colorblind, but it's probably the calves that are pulling them all up anyway. But anyway, I'm going to start down. I'll do a little bit of digging today, but I want to start on the low end. In case it does rain, it'll drain out. So starting to dry out a little bit. I mean, we hadn't had no rain now in about a week. So, but that pasture is just full of moisture. The field is too. It's pretty soft. This one's got a 30-foot flat bottom in it, but that's just as wet as that ground is, and you'd have to run so much in the same spot, that grader would probably sink. So that's wide enough I can shove it out pretty good with the dozer. Then that'll let the sun hit it before I get back out on that grader, because that'll get mushy on me if I try to run the grader too much on that right there. But this thing will build pretty good. Like I say, it's 30-foot bottom. The flags are set where the bottom's supposed to be, each edge. I know I've got to start outside the flags, because 6-to-1 slopes, if you go a foot in the ground, you lose 6 foot of your bottom. So that's all I ever lay out. I just lay out the edge of the bottom after it's dug out and just start past the stakes. So but this one will have a 30-foot bottom. It's supposed to be 2 foot deep, which it's not excavated out 2 foot, because you take the dirt and that's part of your height. It's from the top of the berm to the bottom of the waterway. There'll be a berm on both sides. So, but everything's greening up. Matter of fact, 2 days ago, this pasture wraps around this field, and there's mesquite trees in it, and landowner told me he was going to have the mesquite trees sprayed, weed killer put down. And so 2 days ago, I was over building that little one, and I just seen something kind of go by the cab, and I looked, and I seen a plane going, and it was yellow. It was a crop duster. Well, he went down there and turned around and come back. He had me dead center. I was right next to the fence over there, which the edge of the pasture is right in line with the fence. Well, he was spraying both ends of the pasture, then this pasture, but he never did raise up. He'd shut his spray off when he hit the field and started again when he got to the other end. And I mean, he was square headed for the dozer. I mean, and when he went over it, I bet he wasn't 30 foot off the ground. So, but I didn't have my camera. I had a camera on my phone, so I tried to catch it when he'd go by a couple more times. But that's just been 2 days. The camera's probably not going to show it, but some of them trees, the mesquite trees, are starting to get a little yellow tint to it. 2 more days and you'll really be able to see, but it's usually the younger ones that turn yellow first, and then the bigger ones will start to turn. And even some of them weeds are starting to fold a little bit. It'll kill the weeds and the mesquite trees and leaves the grass. So when you have a wet year like we have now, that's when a lot of people try to spray the mesquite trees. One, because it's got enough moisture in the air and the rain, and them trees will pull that poison in, and then this way this ground will stay wet for a long time when you kill the weeds, and the moisture will be used for the grass and getting that stuff growing and seed out good and everything. So usually in a wet year you benefit more from spraying your mesquite trees and weeds, because that'll just turn the grass. There's a lot of grass now, but it'll just be nothing but solid grass and tall, and we just don't have many years where like this year that we actually had a spring and had a lot of rain for everything to grow. Usually it's just struggling all year long. So anyway, that's where we're at. I want to kind of start cleaning this end out. I got some pictures of me dressing that off over there with the drone, and I don't know, I may hang the camera up on a fence post here in a little bit. I'm not really gonna get going good, and then I might get the drone when I start digging it out, going up toward the top of that hill where I can get a few shots from above. So anyway, that's what's going on out here in the country. So thanks for watching. Bye. whole section right through here got a little juicy. There's just water right under the top of the ground. That's kind of mushy. Anyway, that's why I wanted to start on the low end. If I'd have started up there and got deeper than this, I'd have never cut this out right here. So I'll let the sun hit that this weekend, and I think it'll dry up. I'm not going to cut that any deeper than that up there, but I'll have to kind of touch this up here, back drag it. There's no way a grader or this will hold a grader up. Now once you get up there, it's pretty good. So all this, that's just so wet. That's a pretty good hill up there where the equipment's parked. Now man, that water's draining out. They working on a pipeline right over there where that pile of dirt is, and they dug a hole and you can see water coming out of the ground. They've got to work on that pipeline a little bit. So anyway, here's another spot right here where water's coming up just like a bowl of jello. So anyway, it should get better as I go up the hill. Right there in that curve might be another bad spot, but from there on up I think it'll be all right. So trying to stay out of the wind, my back to the wind, so it don't mess the camera up, the sound anyways. put some diesel in it and call it a day. So appreciate y'all watching this channel. If you hadn't subscribed, wish you'd do that. Hit the like button, share it with all your friends, and then always enjoy your comments and feedback on this channel. So until the next time we get out here, remember, keep your blades shiny and your tracks clean.